The most dangerous opponent is the one who sees through the game before it begins. A Sigma male doesn't need to play games to win. He simply refuses to lose. Let's get straight to the point. If you're watching this, you're probably here because you want to understand what happens when a woman tries to manipulate a Sigma male. The truth is, Sigma males don't engage in the petty drama that others do. They don't fall for emotional manipulation or psychological games. Instead, they see through it and they handle it in ways that'll leave you wondering how it all went wrong. Sigma males don't give in to pressure, guilt trips, or attention-seeking behavior. They don't get emotional about manipulation. They just shut it down, often without even breaking a sweat. The way they handle it isn't just about avoiding confrontation. It's about being so emotionally self-sufficient that manipulation has no power over them. If you're here to understand how Sigma males protect their peace, their energy, and their boundaries, you're in the right place. Stick around to the end of this video, because the insights you're about to hear are the kind that'll not only make you understand Sigma males better, but help you apply these lessons to your own life. Get ready. This isn't your typical self-help talk. It's raw, real, and it's going to change how you look at manipulation. Number 1. They hit her with brutal logic. Women. Manipulators rely on emotions to get their way. Whether it's guilt, fear, or flattery, their tactics are designed to cloud judgment and keep you off balance. But when it comes to Sigma males, they're barking up the wrong tree. Sigma males don't let emotions hijack their thinking. Instead, they counter manipulation with something that's impossible to argue against. Cold, hard logic. Picture this. Woman tries to guilt a Sigma male into doing something by saying, "If you really cared, you'd do this for me." The typical response might be to defend, explain, or justify. But a Sigma male? He'll calmly reply, "Caring doesn't mean compromising my boundaries. If that's your definition, it's flawed." Boom, game over. No raised voice, no dramatic argument, just a brutal truth that shuts the whole manipulation down. Their logic isn't just sharp, it's surgical. They don't argue for the sake of arguing. Instead, they dissect the manipulative tactic piece by piece, exposing the fallacies and leaving no room for rebuttal. It's like watching a master chess player take down an opponent in a few calculated moves. The manipulator often doesn't even realize what's happening until their entire argument has been dismantled. What makes this so powerful is the Sigma's calm delivery. There's no anger, no emotional outburst, just unshakable confidence. This unnerves manipulators because they're used to triggering reactions. When their emotional games are met with pure reason, they lose their footing. But here's the kicker. Sigma males don't just win the argument. They make the woman question her entire approach. By exposing the flaws in their tactics, Sigmas force them to confront their own behavior, often leaving them embarrassed or second-guessing themselves. For a Sigma, it's not about revenge or proving superiority. It's about protecting their integrity and refusing to engage in games. And let's be honest, there's nothing more satisfying than watching manipulative tactics crumble under the weight of undeniable truth. Number 2, they test her intentions. Sigma. Males aren't the type to jump to conclusions when they sense something is off. Instead of reacting impulsively, they'll put the woman under a quiet microscope to test her true intentions. If manipulation is your game, they'll give her just enough room to reveal your hand, and once you do, it's game over. Here's how they do it. A Sigma male won't confront you right away when they suspect you're being manipulative. Instead, they'll subtly set up scenarios to see how you respond. They might share a piece of information or give you a bit of trust, watching closely to see if you twist it to your advantage. They'll also pay attention to how consistent your words are with your actions. Are you truly interested in them as a person, or are you playing them for your own gain? By giving you enough rope, they're not only observing your behavior, they're letting you expose yourself. Manipulators thrive on control and dishonesty, and under the Sigma's quiet observation, cracks in their facade quickly start to show. Whether it's a contradiction in their story, a moment of overreach, or a blatant attempt to exploit the Sigma's kindness, the truth will inevitably surface. Once a Sigma male confirms your intent, they don't stick around to negotiate or argue. They'll cut ties decisively and without ceremony. There's no need for dramatic exits or explanations. Their silence and absence say it all. And because they've already tested and verified your motives, they walk away with absolute clarity, leaving no room for second chances. For manipulators, this is both frustrating and humbling. They're used to people getting caught in their web, but a Sigma male's ability to outthink and outmaneuver them is a harsh reality check. For the Sigma, it's simple. Life's too short to waste on people with ulterior motives. They don't need to call you out. They'll just remove themselves from the equation entirely, leaving you to deal with the fallout of your own behavior. At number 3, they make you doubt your own moves. Dealing with a Sigma male is like playing a high-stakes game of chess, except you don't even realize you're in the game until it's too late. They don't attack manipulation head-on or create unnecessary drama. Instead, they quietly and subtly dismantle your entire strategy, leaving you questioning every move you make. When manipulators try their usual tactics, they expect emotional reactions or knee-jerk decisions. But Sigma males don't give them that satisfaction. Instead, they stay calm, unbothered, and quietly observant. This alone is enough to throw most manipulators off balance, but it's just the beginning. Sigmas have an uncanny ability to ask questions or make statements that seem simple on the surface but hit like a psychological uppercut. For example, if someone tries to guilt-trip them, they might respond with, "Why do you feel the need to control how I think?" The question is direct, but its impact is profound. It forces the manipulator to pause and reflect on their actions, often revealing flaws in their approach. This subtle strategy isn't about confrontation. It's about making the manipulator second-guess their own motives and tactics. Every move they make feels less certain. Every strategy they plan feels riskier. The Sigma male doesn't need to spell out what's happening. The manipulator starts unraveling under their own weight. What's most unnerving is how effortless the Sigma makes it look. They don't over-explain, argue, or even acknowledge the manipulation outright. Instead, they calmly create an environment where the manipulator's actions feel ineffective and ultimately pointless. It's like trying to build a house of cards in the middle of a windstorm, frustrating, futile, and exhausting. By the end of it, manipulators often feel like they're playing a game they can't win. They're left with doubt, insecurity, and the realization that their usual tactics don't work here. For Sigma males, this isn't about power or dominance. It's about ensuring that manipulation has no place in their world. Number 4, they maintain a poker face. If you've ever tried to manipulate a Sigma male, one thing becomes painfully clear. You'll never know if it's working. Why? Because they've mastered the art of keeping their reactions hidden behind a perfect poker face. Whether you're trying to guilt-trip, play the victim, or use any other manipulation tactic, you won't get the usual emotional response that lets you know you're on the right track. Sigma males are the masters of emotional control. They don't wear their feelings on their sleeves or give away hints of frustration, anger, or discomfort. Instead, they remain unreadable, calm, and collected in every situation. Their facial expressions are neutral, their tone steady, and their body language locked down. No matter how hard you try to pry, there's no reaction to work with. This level of emotional restraint makes it nearly impossible for a manipulator to gauge if their tactics are having an impact. The usual manipulative plays, such as guilt-tripping or creating emotional drama, are designed to provoke a response, to get someone to reveal their weakness or frustration. But with a Sigma, that's like throwing a punch at a brick wall. There's no weakness, no frustration to exploit, no emotional crack to slip through. What makes this so frustrating for manipulators is that they thrive on feedback. They need to see whether they've landed a hit, whether their tactics are working. Without any reactions, they're left in the dark, guessing at every turn. They start to doubt themselves, overthink their moves, and in the process they dig themselves deeper. For the Sigma male, it's simple. They don't give anyone the satisfaction of knowing what they're thinking or feeling. When it comes to manipulation, their silence and poker face say it all. Spoiler alert, Manipulation isn't working on them, and it never will. Number 5, they leave you wondering what went wrong. For a manipulator, there's no greater frustration than trying to control someone who doesn't play by the rules. And that's exactly what happens when they try to manipulate a Sigma male. Instead of reacting with defensiveness or aggression, the Sigma simply withdraws, leaving the manipulator to stew in their own confusion. This quiet exit is so disorienting it often makes the manipulator question everything they thought they knew about themselves and their tactics. The Sigma male doesn't escalate the situation or even acknowledge the manipulation. He just quietly exits the scene, leaving the manipulator with no closure, no response, and no way to figure out where they went wrong. For the manipulator, this is an unsettling experience. They expect to provoke a response, to get something from their target, whether it's guilt, anger, or a reaction of any kind. But the Sigma male withholds all of that. They don't give the manipulator the emotional leverage they need, which causes their entire strategy to crumble. And here's the kicker. The manipulator doesn't even realize they've lost until it's too late. As they sit with their thoughts, replaying the interaction over and over, they begin to question their own actions. Why didn't their usual tactics work? Why didn't the Sigma male fall for it? What did they miss? They can't figure it out, and that uncertainty eats at them. For the Sigma male, it's simple. There's no need to confront or prove anything. The manipulator will eventually figure it out on their own, or more likely, they won't. The Sigma's withdrawal leaves a lingering question mark that the manipulator will never fully solve. And that's exactly how the Sigma ensures they maintain the upper hand, by leaving them wondering what went wrong. Number 6, they recognize the pattern and stop it cold. One of the most powerful traits of a Sigma male is his sharp ability to recognize patterns of behavior, especially when it comes to manipulation. Sigma males don't get caught up in the surface-level drama. They see the bigger picture. When they encounter a manipulative tactic, they quickly identify whether it's a one-time play or part of a recurring strategy. And once they see the pattern, they don't hesitate to shut it down. Manipulative people often rely on the same tricks: guilt trips, emotional blackmail, playing the victim, or using passive-aggressive tactics. They assume they can get away with it because many people fall into the trap of responding out of emotion or by giving them the attention they crave. But Sigma males are different. They're not swayed by emotions or the usual psychological games. They don't fall for the same thing twice, and they're quick to spot when someone is trying to repeat a trick. The moment the Sigma male sees the pattern, he cuts it off at the root. He doesn't need to make a big scene or escalate things. He just recognizes the behavior for what it is and quietly removes himself from the situation. The manipulator is left with no more tools to work with. They've lost their leverage, and they don't even realize when it happened. For a manipulator, this is a nightmare. They're used to getting away with their tricks because people don't recognize the patterns quickly enough. But the Sigma male has learned from experience. He knows that manipulation, when repeated, is a sign of weakness, not power. And once the pattern is recognized, the Sigma will never let it control him again. He stops it cold, leaving the manipulator with nothing but their own failed attempts. Number 7, they observe first, act later. When a Sigma male encounters manipulation, he doesn't react impulsively. Instead, he takes a step back and watches. He understands that to truly defeat manipulation, he needs to fully understand the manipulator's strategy, and that takes time. Sigma males are not hasty, they are methodical. They sit back, observe, and gather information, taking mental notes on every little move the manipulator makes. This patience is their secret weapon. Manipulators, on the other hand, are usually looking for quick results. They want to provoke a reaction or create urgency. But a Sigma male knows that rushing in only clouds judgment. Instead, he lets the manipulator reveal their cards. Every attempt, every push for control, every emotional play is noted, and the Sigma remains calm, detached, and in complete control of his own emotions. By the time the manipulator thinks they have the upper hand, the Sigma male already has the full picture. He knows exactly what's going on and how to counter it, without ever having to make a show of force. This calm observation allows him to pick the perfect moment to act, when the manipulator's moves are predictable and their vulnerabilities exposed. Manipulators have no idea what's coming. They think they've outsmarted the Sigma male. But what they don't realize is that the Sigma has been analyzing them the entire time. The manipulator's mistakes are clear, and their tactics are transparent. When the Sigma decides to act, it's with precision. They make a move only when they know they have all the information, and by then, it's already too late for the manipulator. This strategy is a game of mental chess, and Sigma males always play to win. They don't need to rush or react immediately because they know that, in the end, the manipulator will expose themselves. And when they do, the Sigma male is ready to make his move, and it's always the one that finishes the game. Number 8. They mirror her behavior until she sees herself. Here's the thing about Sigma males. They don't deal in petty revenge or emotional outbursts. Instead, they take a more calculated, almost surgical approach to dealing with manipulative behavior from a woman. They reflect it right back at her. It's not about payback. It's about giving you a front-row seat to your own chaos. Let's say someone tries to guilt-trip a Sigma male by saying something like, "If you don't do this, it just proves you don't care about me." A typical reaction might involve defensiveness or an attempt to reassure, but a Sigma, he'll calmly flip the script. "If you cared about me, you wouldn't try to guilt me into something I don't want to do." And just like that, the manipulator is faced with their own hypocrisy. This mirroring technique is brutal in its effectiveness because it forces the manipulator to confront their behavior head-on. Sigmas don't have to raise their voice or break a sweat. They simply reflect the same tactics being used against them, exposing how ridiculous or toxic they are. It's like holding up a mirror to someone who's been walking around with spinach in their teeth all day. At first, they might be defensive, but eventually, they'll realize how absurd they look. What makes this even more unnerving is how effortlessly the Sigma pulls it off. They don't just parrot the behavior, they adapt it with precision, making it impossible for the manipulator to ignore. If someone tries to play the victim, the Sigma might calmly play along just enough to highlight how transparent the act is. If someone uses passive aggression, the Sigma will respond with a level of subtlety that feels like a masterclass in psychological Aikido. This isn't cruelty, it's a wake-up call. The Sigma's goal isn't to hurt, but to educate, even if it's an uncomfortable lesson. They know that sometimes the only way to make someone realize their own destructiveness is to let them experience it firsthand. And when that moment of clarity hits, it's game over. Number 9. They ignore the bait completely. When someone tries to manipulate a Sigma male, the first thing they'll notice is an eerie lack of reaction. Most people would take the bait, arguing back, trying to defend themselves, or bending over backward to prove a point, but a Sigma male? He's not playing that game. Manipulative tactics like guilt-tripping, emotional outbursts, or playing the victim are as obvious to him as a neon sign flashing desperate move. And instead of engaging, he'll simply watch you unravel. Here's the thing. Sigma males have no interest in drama or unnecessary emotional chaos. They know that manipulation only works when you give it power, and they're not about to hand over the keys to their peace of mind. When faced with guilt-tripping, they won't apologize for things they didn't do. When someone plays the victim to gain sympathy, they don't fall for it because they can spot false vulnerability from a mile away. What makes this even more frustrating for manipulators is the lack of reaction. The Sigma's calm demeanor will feel like a brick wall, unmovable and unbothered. They won't explain themselves or get drawn into a pointless argument because they know it's a waste of time. Instead, they let the manipulative person spiral in their own chaos. They understand that without an audience or engagement, the game falls apart. This isn't passive aggressiveness, it's calculated control. Sigma males know how to keep their energy in check, and they refuse to let manipulative tactics disrupt their mental clarity. By ignoring the bait, they make it clear, your tactics have no power here. For manipulators, it's infuriating. They expect resistance, an argument, or some form of emotional reaction. But when faced with complete indifference, they're left powerless, scrambling to regain control. For the Sigma, though, it's simple. Why feed into something that doesn't serve them? Instead, they focus on what does matter: their peace, their purpose, and their freedom. Number 10. They do nothing, and it's enough. Sometimes, the most powerful move a Sigma male makes when confronted with manipulation is to do absolutely nothing at all. And that silence? It's more crushing than any argument, more devastating than any confrontation. It's a masterstroke of emotional control that leaves the manipulator floundering without the reaction or engagement they're desperately seeking. Manipulators thrive on getting a rise out of people. They rely on emotional responses to validate their tactics. When they push buttons, they expect to see a reaction: guilt, anger, frustration, or defensiveness. But Sigma males, they don't play by those rules. Instead of reacting, they detach completely, retreating into their calm, unflappable state. They show no anger, no fear, no urgency. They simply let the manipulator spin their wheels, digging deeper into their own web of lies and emotional games. This apparent inaction is what makes the Sigma male so dangerous to manipulators. When they don't get the reaction they expect, they start to second-guess their approach. Without any emotional feedback to work with, their attempts at manipulation begin to lose their power. The manipulator becomes frustrated, confused, and ultimately desperate. But the Sigma male remains an unmoving force of quiet strength. As the manipulator's plans start to unravel, the Sigma doesn't need to say a word. The manipulator digs their own grave, and the Sigma simply watches, detached but fully aware. In their silence, the Sigma male holds all the power. It's not about revenge. It's about letting the manipulator self-destruct, as they always do. At the end of the day, the Sigma knows that doing nothing is often the most effective way to deal with manipulation. They don't need to raise their voice or lift a finger. They just need to let the manipulator expose themselves for what they are. And that, in itself, is the ultimate form of retribution. Number 11. They outsmart her with patience. When it comes to dealing with a manipulative woman, Sigma males don't play by the typical rules of engagement. Instead of rushing in with a reaction, they deploy a weapon more dangerous than any argument or confrontation: patience. While most people would feel the need to respond, defend, or counter in the heat of the moment, Sigma males understand that time itself is often the best way to expose manipulation. Manipulative women thrive on speed. They create urgency, push for quick decisions, or demand immediate emotional responses. They need their targets to act impulsively to get caught up in the drama of the moment. But Sigma males aren't fooled. They've learned the power of sitting back, observing, and allowing the manipulator to reveal themselves over time. By simply waiting, the Sigma allows the manipulator to dig their own hole. Every lie, every false promise, every attempt to pull strings unravels with time. The manipulator, thinking they're in control, grows more desperate as their schemes begin to fall apart. Meanwhile, the Sigma male remains a silent observer, quietly observing and outlasting their manipulator's every move. The brilliance of this strategy is that Sigma males don't need to prove anything. Time exposes the truth. Manipulative behavior always leaves traces, whether it's inconsistencies, contradictions, or emotional overreaching. With patience, the Sigma allows these flaws to surface naturally. As the manipulator's lies catch up with them, they begin to lose their grip on control. By the time the manipulator realizes what's happening, it's too late. The Sigma male has already made his decision, and that decision is to withdraw, cut ties, or simply leave the manipulator to deal with the fallout. The manipulator, on the other hand, is left grappling with their own unraveling schemes, unable to stop the consequences of their own actions. Patience is often underestimated, but Sigma males know that in the end, it's the ultimate truth teller. They don't need to rush. They just need to wait for the manipulator to expose themselves. And by the time they do, it's game over. In conclusion, if you're still here, it's because you're starting to get a glimpse of what makes Sigma males different from the crowd. It's not just about rejecting manipulation. It's about understanding it, dismantling it, and never letting it get a foothold in the first place. You've seen how a Sigma male operates: calm, strategic, and always in control. He doesn't need to fight fire with fire. He just stands apart and watches manipulation burn itself out. For anyone trying to manipulate a Sigma male, it's like trying to trap smoke. Your tactics won't stick no matter how hard you try. Sigma males don't react out of fear or insecurity. They respond with patience, wisdom, and a sharp sense of self-preservation. They're not playing the same game everyone else is, and that's what makes them so untouchable. So, if you've been wondering what makes the Sigma male untouchable by manipulation, now you know. It's not about being a tough guy or putting on a facade. It's about emotional control, awareness, and the refusal to let anyone's games change his course. Remember, it's not just about surviving manipulation, it's about thriving beyond it. Keep these lessons in mind. You don't need to fight back with drama, just maintain your power, stay detached, and watch the manipulators expose themselves. This video isn't just about understanding how Sigma males handle manipulation. It's about giving you the tools to handle it in your own life. So, take these lessons, apply them, and remember, you're not just playing the game, you're redefining it.